Hey guys, welcome back to World of Tanks. My name is Bruce and today I want to showcase the tier 9 Italian premium heavy tank, the Toro. How good is this tank? Let's find out in this video. The Toro is one of the new premium tanks that were inside the Holiday Ops 2024-25 loot boxes. It is a very weird tank. It has a rear mounted turret, an auto reloader gun, however only 360 alpha damage. It's a heavy tank and so it has its own niche. In order to find out whether this tank is worth it or not, we need to take a look at the features of this tank. So let's compare it to some other tanks. So let's compare the Toro against other autoloader tanks on tier 9. So we want to compare it against the wheather 66, its brother on tier 9, against the MX 5120, the Object 752, the T54E1, the M4Y and the TNH TVZ51. Now keep in mind that most of those tanks are not really the most competitive tanks. I would say the Object 752 is very competitive, so is the TNH TVZ51, but there's a reason why you do not see AMX 5120s or wheather 66s or even T54E1s on the battlefield. Same applies for the M4Y. So if the Toro performs well against those tanks, that doesn't mean this tank is a good tank per se. Nonetheless, I want to compare this tank to the other autoloader tanks simply because of the speciality that this tank brings to the fight. So DPM wise, this tank is actually not too good. It is not the worst one either. I would say mediocre. Penetration wise, 248 is average, nothing too crazy. However, 248 on tier 9 is nothing out of the ordinary. This tank lacks alpha damage, 360 compared to 390 or 400 and 440 on the TNHT VZ51. Intra clip reload 3 seconds, so this tank can deal 1440 damage, however within very long 9 seconds. And basically all the other tanks are better, maybe apart from the MX 5120. This tank has a pretty nice shell velocity. The gun handling is okay, it's the best in class, apart from the poor dispersion values. As you can see, moving dispersion 0.25 and tank traverse dispersion 0.25 is very bad. And in fact, it is even worse than the gun handling of the Object 752. And you really see this during the gameplay, that this tank is suffering from those poor tank traverse values. Now the problem with this tank is, and we'll take a look at the armor in a second, you have to jiggle around quite a bit in order to not get penned at your weak spot. And so this is what really limits the tank. Yes, dispersion in general is fine. Yes, aim time in general is fine, nothing out of the ordinary, but okay, comparable to the other autoloader tanks. And but this is what this tank really holds back. Now gun depression 8 degrees is fine, nothing too crazy. Speed wise, this tank is once again okay, nothing out of the ordinary. Power to weight ratio 15.38 is fine, however not comparable to the AMX 5120. And then armor wise, once again, this tank has an okay armor, but it only works if you use the gun depression of 8 degrees, and we'll take a look at the armor profile in a second. This tank has no camo whatsoever, and it features 390 meters of view range. So while the view range is okay, the camo value is actually pretty poor, and you will see this in your gameplay. You will be spotted every day of the week in any kind of situation if there is another tank. So let's take a look at the armor profile of this tank. As you can see, in general, the turret is relatively strong, 320, 350, even values like 390. and the gun manlet even features about 500-600 millimeters of armor, so relative strong turret. However, you do have a very, very huge and prominent cupola. This cupola is super easy to hit and also super easy to pen. 200 millimeters of armor, 190 here at the sides, so super easy to pen. Same applies for the hull. The hull is extremely weakly armored. 200 millimeters at the sides, 230, but here at the bottom part even below 200. So this is very easy to pen for every tier 8 tank, tier 9 tank, and also tier 10 tank. Now, if you use the gun depression, the good thing about this tank is that you can hide your cupola. Not only can you hide your cupola, but you can also manage to increase the effective armor of your upper hull. So your armor then changes to above 250 and 270, even 320 here at the side. So this is how you can make your armor work in this tank. Yes, you create some fancy weak spots at the right and at the left side of the tank. However, now your armor is really, really strong. Comparable to the wheather 66, which also only works if you use your gun depression. Now, can you side scrape in this tank? The answer is yes and no. You should not over angle your tank. As you can see, then your side becomes weak. But if you angle like this and then turn your turret to the side, I'd say yes, you can side scrape. It's not the best side scraping tank because it has this weak spot. And at the beginning, when this tank saw the live server, people didn't know about this weak spot, but now they do. And so this weak spot is also relatively easy to pen, at least, and I'd say easy to hit and easy to pen, especially if you have a very close range to your adversary tank. So in general, you should side scrape. Yes, side scraping is an option for this tank, but you should primarily use your 8 degrees of gun depression. Now, the good news about this tank is nothing changes if you select your premium ammunition, at least talking about the turret. Of course, the hull is becoming weaker, but once again, this is still 300 and above millimeters, so I wouldn't call this weak. Now, if we compare this tank to the relatively strong standard penetration value or the standard ammunition of the Leopard PTA, basically nothing changes. As you can see, the turret is still very strong and very effective. Once again, you do have your weak cupola. If you use your 8 degrees of gun depression, then same applies. You can hide your cupola and your turret is relatively strong. Your hull is becoming weaker, and of course, if this tank would load its superb premium ammunition, then of course the hull is easily pennable. But this is kind of how the armor profile works of this tank. Alright, first game in the Toro. We are spawning on Abbey, and let's first of all take a look at the map and see what options we have. Spawning on Abbey in the north with the Toro, this is how the game usually develops, and with this tank you have multiple options. However, in my opinion, as the 1 and 2 lane is the most important one, and as the Toro still is a heavy tank, despite its deficiencies when it comes to armor, I would go to this position and try to support my team to win the 1 and the 2 lane, because once again, I do think that this is the most important flank on this map, and if you have won this side, you can make pressure onto the adversary base. Plus, if you've lost the other flank, no problem whatsoever, because you are then defending your base from the high ground from this B2 and C2 position. Yeah, so that's where we want to go. And by the way, with this little 3D attachment on top of the turret, I am trying to hide my cupola. And feel free to write a comment in the comment section down below. I think this should not be possible in World of Tanks. There are a couple of 3D styles which kind of reduce the visibility of the weak spots. I'm thinking of the 3D style of the M48 pattern and other tanks. But in this particular case, it is also the case that the visibility of the huge cupola is actually reduced, so this should not be the case. Alright, let's focus on the game. So we are in a top tier situation, and with the Toro, as well as with any other tank which has at least a little bit of gun depression, I want to go to this particular position, and I want to side scrape and only show a tiny portion of my tank. And yes, my tank does have a weak spot, but angling the tank like this in this situation, it shouldn't be too easy to hit. Alright, so our team is making pressure, which is in general a mistake if you ask me, because this can lead to a disaster depending on what the enemy team is doing. So I want to play a bit more cautiously and see how the game develops. So there's the contradictions on the other side. There's also the object for 30 on the other side. And okay, the TNH has crossed the G2 position and there's no enemy tanks. So looks like the enemy heavy tanks are very defensively on this flank. So we need to make pressure. So let's hurry up and let's see what we can do. So there's the, yeah, I will of course help you. I expect crossfire from this situation. Yeah, well, there are tanks, but they cannot hit me. And so now, okay, you know what? Let's side scrape against this tank. It's only a tier 8 tank. And so, bam, we bounce the first shot. We can deliver the second shell. And here you go, nice. And now we only want to wait until our clip is reloaded. And then here you go. You know what, I will also let the other shell reload, and now he has emptied all his 3 shots, so no problem for me to finish off this tank. So let me see, let me at least reload another shell. And of course, once again, I want to side scrape. Yep, they are penetrating me, which is all right. Now the compensation mechanics work, so I get the last shell reloaded. And let's see whether I can take another shot. Okay. Nice frontal portion, easy to pen. And let's see. Okay, second shell is almost reloaded. You know what? They will take care of the Toro, and meanwhile I will try to flank. I need to be aware of the Jagdtiger prototype in the base. But let's see what we can do. I still have most of my HP remaining, so that should not be a problem. And with my little flanking maneuver here, I'm able to fully reload my clip, which is nice. Okay, this tank is pointing towards me, so I need to side scrape. Side scraping, of course, I still have this weak spot that I showed you. However, this is the best thing I can do in this situation. Okay, this shot does not hit. After all, the gun is not the most precise one, but that's just how it is. So unfortunately, only 1 shot out of 3. And let's see what we can do. Let's keep advancing. However, I do not want to take a shot from this tank. What can we do? Maybe we can... I think we should be patient. We should try and be patient. Maybe the object 704 will attack again. Doesn't look like. Maybe I can bait a shot from the Jagdtiger prototype. Or maybe I can simply advance. Nice, he bounces his shot. Excellent. That's what I want to see. And so now hopefully I can play hull down against this tank. Let me see. I need to go to another spot where I can make use of my gun depression, because I need to pen his lower hull. Okay, I think he's not aware of my weak spot, or he's simply completely unlucky. Now he has shot once, so let's simply try to finish him off. Bam, that's the advantage of an autoloader tank. Nice, we can clip him out, and 3.3k damage so far. Excellent. And let's now try to reload our clip, and let's try to, here go, take out the object 704. Excellent. Here you go. Nice. All right, can we make some additional damage? Okay, we take a shot from the AMX 30, but that's all right due to the fact that we have enough hit points remaining. And yeah, so I think this game showed the flexibility of an auto reloading tank, but of course we were also lucky that some tanks bounced their shots. Okay, perfect. 3.9k damage, nice. And let's see whether we can make some more additional damage. There's the tortoise, and we simply want to hurry up. As soon as we arrive at the tortoise position, we will have our full clip reloaded. But once again, we need to hurry up. So let's see. We have enough HP remaining so that he is unable to one-shot us, which is good. So we might simply want to... no, you know what? Let's... Okay. I'm spotted. You know what? I think I need to move out of cover. Can I side scrap maybe? Okay, he's just taken a shot, so... I will simply cross now. He might have, yeah, he might have reloaded his tank, but you know what? I will try to flank, and maybe I can get the kill shot of this tank. Let's see. Nice, and bam, nice. 4k damage, 4.9k combined. I think a decent result in the Toro. Okay, second game. Once again, a top tier scenario, and let's first of all take a look at the map and see what options we have. Spawning on El Hallouf in the northeast of the map, this is how the game usually develops. And with the Toro, I would go to the most important position, which is the northwestern portion of the map right here. Because in my opinion, this is the strategic position that you need to win in order to win the game. And with the Toro, you can use your 8 degrees of gun depression and go to this position. You can also go here and try to side scrape. However, we saw the deficiencies of this tank when it comes to armor. So I would go here and try to use my 8 degrees of gun depression. Alright, so that is where I want to go. Maybe I can play hull down. And as soon as I arrive at this position, the clip will be fully loaded. Now the Toro is a very huge tank, as you can see in this little comparison here. Its camo value is basically non-existent, so this tank has a very bad camo value, which kind of prevents it as being a heavy medium hybrid, if you will. Now in my opinion, this tank is not a real heavy tank, and once again, it is not. It has too many deficiencies and simply cannot be played as a medium heavy hybrid. So this is kind of the downside of this tank. But let's see how it goes. The good thing about this tank is it has an auto reloader gun, I should say, and this gives it a flexibility that other tanks simply do not have. So let me see. Can we? No, I think in this position we cannot side scrape. So, maybe if the AMX 5120 reverses and falls back. So let us see. Do not want to peek out and lose HP right from the get-go. So let's see. Maybe we can side scrape. Nice. And now we should be in the better position, so as soon as they peek around the corner, they will take a shot. Our clip has reloaded. Nice. And let's see. Of course, a real disadvantage is the abysmal 360 alpha damage. Nice, we can track him. Excellent. And then let's retrack him. And then that is, of course, the strength of an autoloader tank. So let's not shoot the last shell. Otherwise, the DPM is insanely bad. Here you go. Okay, I tried to track him once again, but now my clip is empty. So I cannot give any further support to the contradictions. that's how it is. Let me see. Okay, he can take out the IS-3, nice. And so let's refocus on the game. Yeah, so positive side, auto reloading gun. Negative side, only 360 alpha damage. In my opinion, the gun handling is not what I expected. Like, I expected a pretty decent gun with a tank that has so many flaws. But that's not the case. In addition to this, in my opinion, the 3-second intra-clip reload really prevents this tank from, yeah, from having a nice overall gun handling, or nice firepower, I should say. So that's how it is. So downside overall is armor, is camo value, is gun handling, is intra-clip reload. And so all in all, in my opinion, this tank has too many deficiencies, too many flaws. And of course the armor profile is also lackluster, as I already showed you. But in the right scenario, this tank can really work. So obviously, as you see, having an autoloader is always an advantage, and having an auto reloader gives you this firepower of an autoloader tank, but then additionally a certain flexibility. So here in this situation, I want to make use of my compensation mechanic. There you go, nice. So I can take 2 shots, and this was the perfect example of the flexibility of an auto reloading tank. So 3k damage in this scenario in a very, very quick game. Keep in mind the game only lasted 4 minutes and 30 seconds so far. And so yeah, I think this game showed that in the right scenario, this tank can really work. And yeah, once again, I'm trying to hide the huge cupola. This tank is not made for brawling on the heavy lane, not against the strong tier 9 heavy tanks like the E75 or maybe the Object 705. Certainly not against the tier 10 heavy tanks. But that's alright. The main problem of this tank is that it does have too many deficiencies. I'm repeating myself now, but this is armor. This is the problem that it cannot be really played as a medium-heavy hybrid. And you know what? Maybe I can even ram the Char Future 4. You know what? Let's go for it. Let's try and ram the Char Future 4. And you know... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Sorry. That was stupid. Okay. But you know what? We ram him and nice. So overall, 3.1k damage. And I think a game which showed that having an auto reloading gun is a strength of its own. Alright, live folks, last game. This time we spawn in a tier 10 matchup, and let's first of all take a look at the map and see what options we have. Spawning on Live Oaks with the Toro, this is how the game usually develops. And from the southern spawn you have 2 options. You can go to the city, and working in a city with a tank that has, let's say, mediocre side-scraping capabilities plus an autoloader is of course always an option. So you can definitely go to the city. In my opinion, more often than not is the game decided right here in the south. Plus, due to the fact that you have 8 degrees of gun depression, it is possible to work on this ridgeline here and to support your tanks, winning this important ditch right here to then further proceed towards the adversary base. Yeah, so I want to play in the south simply because I think it is the more important position. Plus, I want to make use of my gun depression, in which case my turret cupola kind of disappears and my hull armor, my frontal hull armor also becomes stronger. So let's see how it goes. In a tier 10 matchup with this tank, you need to play much more defensively and much more cautiously. I played multiple games in this tank now, and one conclusion for me is that this tank works fine against tier 8 tanks. It's not a very good tank for a match in which you encounter tier 10 tanks. So against lower tiers it's fine, against higher tiers it's really lackluster due to all the drawbacks that we already talked about. And so key to success for this tank is you have to play patiently. This tank is not made for brawling, it's not made for an over aggressive push. It's simply a support tank that is supposed to be played alongside with your teammates. So if your teammates push, then you are supposed to support them, but it's not you who's leading the push. Let me see. So that's only a paper thin armored tank. And here you go, another shot, and now we can take him out. Excellent, bam. Alright, nice. So once again, that's the strength of an autoloader tank, and now we've won the important position, which is this little ditch. And let's now see how it goes. Of course, I need to reload my clip, but maybe there are some other tanks here, and maybe I can take a shot onto those tanks. So let me see. Is there another tank? Doesn't look like. So you know what? Let's try to see. Okay, Manticore is not spotting any other tank in the middle. Okay. So let me see. 3 of the 4 shells are reloaded. Nice. And I'm a little bit afraid of the FV4005 and of the Gorilla 15. Because I suppose they will be in the C0 position. And of course I do not want to take a shot from those tanks. I'm certainly not, because they will be able to take me out instantaneously. So in this case, once again, it is time to be patient. Now we have to be aware of the enemy heavy tanks pushing on the 1, 2 and 3 lane. But we'll see how it goes. Nice, Caro 45 pushes where you should push on this map. Now the problem is that we need to leave this task to the medium or to the light tanks, simply because our camo value doesn't allow for any vision games in this tank. So we will simply stay here, waggle around a little bit, so in case that we get spotted, the tanks in the C0 position do not have an easy opportunity to take a shot onto our cupola. And then we simply want to wait until one or another tank is spotted. We've reloaded our clip, so we are ready to go. Fortunately, our team positioned itself in a defensive position, so this is a tough nut to crack for the 60 TP and all the other enemy tanks that pushed over the 1, 2 and 3 lane. And so let's see how it goes. Once again, in this tank, patience is key to success, especially if you're playing in a low tier scenario like this. Alright, let's see how it goes. Okay, I'm spotted. Okay, I need to fall back. Yeah, that is a problem. Why am I spotted? I have an idea. Manticore has not been spotted so far, because I think the FV405 and Gorilla should not be able to spot me at a range of 440 meters plus. Yeah, I'm behind cover, so let me see. But then the Conqueror, our teammate, should also be spotted. Okay, there's the 121B. Is Manticore in this position or is he not? Let's see. Okay, I'm instantaneously... Where is Manticore? Okay, there need to be a tank in some kind of bush, because I get spotted instantaneously. As soon as I move out or on top of this little hill, I get spotted immediately. So question is, where is this tank? Leopard PTA is advancing. Now this is a very stupid situation, because as soon as I move out of cover, I get spotted, and those tanks will have no problem of penning me once I show them my weaker frontal portion of my hull. So a very, very stupid situation for me. Maybe the ST-62 is going to spot the tank. Maybe he's going to spot the FB and the gorilla. Let's see how it goes. I will maintain my patience, and I will not give those tanks the chance of making any damage. Here you go. That's what I want to see. Nice. Okay, here you go. Can I take a shot onto the E50M? He's relatively nicely armored, but maybe if I hit the side of the turret. Nice. Here you go. That's what I want to see. Nice. Oh, lucky shot from me. I think I hit his cupola. And you know what? I'm going to empty... no, I'm not going to empty my clip, simply because I did not... Okay, here you go. Nice. Okay, I donked the shot. Alright, but 3 out of 4 is decent for this situation. Let's now reload the clip, and let's see. I think I still get spotted. Conqueror's making pressure. This is a mistake. Now Gorilla has shot, as it appears. And now I'm waiting for the shot of the FB405. Yep. So that's not a good idea. Pushing on an over an open field into an FB405 and into a Gorilla is not a good idea. My clip has almost reloaded. You know what? I will at least take one shot. Ah, here you go. That's, yeah. This is where the Manticore is sitting. Okay. You know what? I will reload this shell, and then I will try to make damage onto this tank. I want to punish this tank for keeping me spotted, like, for the remainder of the game. So let's see. FV405 should be entangled in a fight, so I do not have to care about him. And I wanted to track him. And okay, I bounced this shot. This was super unlucky. But you know what? 3k damage is fine, and I think patience really worked out in this situation. So overall, Toro, do I think it's a good tank? No, absolutely not. Do I think it's a bad tank? Well, yes. What's the strength of this tank? Well, it has an auto reloading gun with 4 shells in its magazine. However, that's where the good news ends. This tank has a poor intra clip reload, it has a poor alpha damage, it has poor camo, it has poor armor. Mobility is of course on the good side. However, it's not a real heavy tank, nor is it a good medium heavy hybrid. So in my opinion, this is one of the worst tanks that you could get out of the loot boxes during the last holiday ops event. But that's how it is. And yeah, so overall, sometimes it can be fun, but more often than not, it is simply lackluster. Alright guys, that was it for today with the video about the Toro. What do you think about this tank? Were you as disappointed as me? What do you like most about this tank, and what do you detest most? Just leave a comment in the comment section down below. And as always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. This really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. If you find this video extremely helpful, then feel free to support me via Super Thanks. This way you can make a one-time donation. You just have to click this button underneath the video. If you adore this channel and you want to consistently support me, then consider subscribing to my channel or become a member, once again with the click of a button underneath the video. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time in another World of Tanks video.